Another DraftScience video presentation. Alright, so today will be AB Science has made a Ken Wheeler video, but we're not going to play the Ken Wheeler part. Because frankly, his debunking of Ken is so abstract in terms of some of the arguments made that what's the point? Ken Wheeler's wrong for lots of reasons. He uses fake evidence in the sense that he makes claims about ferrocells and how they work that are just obviously, they can be just shown to be wrong. He claims he made a solar device that isn't using, point sources, isn't imitating LEDs when that's exactly what it is doing, and he knows it. It doesn't work if you have light coming from all directions. The ferrocell doesn't work anymore because it's completely dependent on creating an illusion, based on specific angles that the light is projected at. But anyway, so instead of going into those details and just explaining how Ken is selling you a pile of crap, in terms of his evidence is always a distortion. Something tangible. It's all this abstract stuff. Ken Wheeler's wooey hyperboloids based on, magical ether flows versus their hyperboloids based on magnetic moments of electrons and other kinds of crap, as if electrons, again, are somehow dipolar magnets. They never really draw one like that. But anyway, just crap. But anyway, but the video has some stuff in it that just makes it debunkable, so we'll debunk it. The statements of science, the statements of the scientists, okay, the ones who think they have done honor and that they've well represented their the dignity of science, the dignity of the human ambition to understand. And they really have done a horrible indignity to the process, and they've insulted human intelligence once again. So the video starts. I'm going to play it as a download just because it had so many ads in it. It was unpleasant to watch. For that reason alone. It was also unpleasant for some other reasons. So we'll come back to this point, 18 something or other, but we'll start here at the beginning-ish. And this was cute. It was well done. But again, it's this example of this is how people are going to argue about the most fundamental questions there are to ask, about how the universe functions and our role in it and all that stuff is all, it's all dependent on these conversations and what the definition of a proof is, and what the definition of, beyond reasonable doubt and beyond reasonable contention. And all of these are really critical questions for the human race to answer in some sort of decisive way, or else it just keeps mushing along in this confused manner where you have people going in so many directions that you don't go in any direction, and you don't get anywhere, and you don't accomplish anything, and everything's horribly efficient, and you end up with solar panels on roofs. You end up with imbecilities everywhere, because you can't assert anything with any integrity.
Induction, ball, induction, sphere, induction, ball, sphere, ball, induction, sphere, induction, ball, sphere, ball, induction, sphere, induction, ball, sphere, ball, induction, sphere, ball, induction, sphere, induction, ball, sphere, ball.
Yeah, so very well done. But is that really necessary? Is this part of what has to be done, or it's vital to the argument, or we really can't communicate unless we entertain each other in some goofy way and all of that bullshit? Is that something you want to feed in the human race rather than kind of point out that maybe we shouldn't go there, even though it's fun? Maybe that's not the right road to take. But anyway, I have to explain that to the smart people. That's pretty sad, I'd say, but whatever. 19. Now I want 18. Where's 18? 18 something or other. That's 19 something or other. Where's this 18 something or other? Alright, somewhere in here. Should be the place.
Mechanics are actually extremely simple.
You have nothing against math. Well, may I suggest you start using some?
Okay, so that's the attitude. Now, he does use some, but yeah, it's pretty silly. So, anyway, this whole idea that the mathematical model is the model, you know, again, is that really the scientific opinion? Is that really a rational statement? When we know the math is just a way of putting it in another language, putting the relationships in another language, and that the real math is just telling you what the geometry is, and that the geometry, you can usually draw it in some form. Like Schrodinger's cat, I can draw it, you know, show you the cat in the box and make an explanation. I don't actually need to do any complex physics to explain the physics in many cases. Alright, so, but it's just a language. It's just a way of describing that's really concise and really small, because it only says this is the variables that are important. These are the things that are really causing the effect. And we don't need to see the cat's fur, or the cat's eyes, or any of this other kind of crap. You know, we can just symbolize and represent the cat as something and then move it through the process of time. So again, it's not some magical thing. Math isn't magic. Just another way of drawing a picture. But beyond that, I would argue to yourself, right? Well, I'll let him say the little next statement.
You see, if you have a theory, you must be able to test it and compare it against experiment.
Right. Now, I've pointed out to you how you have a theory that photons are waves, and that your whole theory is based on this double slit experiment. And I've pointed out to you clearly how the propaganda, what you're saying happens, has nothing to do with the math. Okay? The math says something exactly the opposite. So you say the theory is one thing, you draw it as a picture one way, and then when you do the math, all of a sudden you've changed the rules entirely. So, you know, this isn't complicated, right? This isn't, you know, we know that water waves in a single slit and sound waves in a single slit don't do what you need to take place. That is, it doesn't create two waves that interfere with each other. It does this, right? Now, you're drawing the picture in light, okay, that this is happening essentially. You know, two waves are popping in here and they're interfering with each other. Like, oh, here, they're over the side of the slit, actually. So let's put them in the place your math puts them. Your math says this is a point source and this is a point source. You identify it with a variable and you say that's the variable of the distance, and then you compare two vectors from those 2 point sources. So how is your math being honest? This is nothing like this at all. Okay, completely different things, entirely different things, and yet you don't account for that fact. Okay, you don't tell the truth. And then the double slit, it's even more obvious, you know, that you're cheating preposterously, right? So you create, you know, this idea of 2 slits, and where do you put the point sources? Well, your math only has this, and this is a point source. I mean, the conventional math in 99% of the videos where the professors don't go into any detail at all. Now, you know also that the pattern has 2 patterns to it, right? That's creating 2 patterns. You know, there's these glaring offs here in the middles, you know. So there's 2 patterns. There's this humpy stuff happening here, and then there's these little lines happening here. Now, you know that's the fact. Your math doesn't have anything to do with it. All your descriptions have nothing to do with it. You end up doing this. You say, Young, the famous Young experiment. Where's the point sources? Right here in the middle. Does your math say the point sources are right here in the middle? No, your math says this is the variable. So, obviously your math is garbage. It doesn't match. If you measured it with a ruler, okay, it wouldn't get the right answer. And the truth is, the right answer is that just as I have predicted, just as I claimed long before I saw that your math was a fraud, long before I saw the math that actually does work, I had predicted that these would be the point sources. And guess what? The math that actually works, that's where the point sources are, right where you'd have scatter, on the surfaces. Not the place where you'd have waves, right? Their theory is that there's 4 waves. They'll never draw that, right? Because it would look ridiculous. Okay, and it's not the Young experiment anymore. They can't just go, Young says, and it's God, and we wrote it in our Bible, and nobody can deviate from the Bible. Well, how much integrity do you have when you claim how important it is to do this measurement thing and to take these clinical numbers seriously, when you don't take it seriously in the most important experiments there are? So, Eddington, big piece of garbage, is an experiment. No crude math there. No math here in the double slit. So two of the most famous experiments in the development of your theory and in the defense of your theory, and you pay no attention to the actual mathematical implications. The mathematical diagram doesn't match your drawings and doesn't match your statements. So all three of them are in conflict with each other, and you'll still assert, there's our proof. We proved it. It's beyond reasonable doubt. You will be mocked and ridiculed if you doubt the integrity of this argument. Waves have been proven. I mean, if this isn't an emperor, a naked emperor, what the hell is this? All right, your most foundational experiments, the ones that started your whole philosophy, have been shown to be naked as having any integrity, and yet you still assert to the point where you will mock anyone who disagrees with you, and you say that's how, man, we are the greatest scientists. We are so careful, so cautious, so we never do anything for fake or phony reasons. We're just looking for the truth. No, you're not. You're a religion.
For that, you need to measure things or quantify things. And this is the only way.
So again, this whole notion that that's all that the real physicists do, when no, the truth is they've been caught in the past not doing that. And in this case, they're caught it's such an overt caught. You're just so caught. And the fact that you didn't catch yourself, the fact that I had to do it. Me. A nothing. A nobody. No, I didn't even go to college. And I have to point it out? Man. Really bad.
That you can compare your predictions against observation and develop some confidence in your theory.
Right. So you have all this confidence, and yet what did you do to develop it, right? You have all this confidence in Eddington's theory that light is bent twice as much. Well, Eddington's proof. Einstein's theory that somehow a photon is bent twice as much. You have all this counter evidence demonstrating that no force is even bent by another force, let alone bent twice as much by another force. And you ignore that counter evidence and just assert that, stuff we did 100 years ago was so cool, and the new modern science, we don't want to screw it up by redoing it with any modern technology. I mean, isn't that what you're saying? I mean, the resolution in space is 400 times 400. I mean, huge number, really. 400 times. If I was 400 times taller, I mean, I'm really, really big. Huge, gigantic size, resolution difference in space. And we've had the technology to do the experiment for at least 25 years up there, because you only need a crappy camera. I mean, for as long as we've been on the moon, they could have done this experiment. They could have done it from the moon. Hilarious joke over and over again. I mean, they could have put a crappy camera on the moon and done the experiment. And yet you haven't repeated it? Anyway. All right, so now we'll go to the end where he is going to tell us what he says magnetism is.
What about spin, induction, or moment? They are all key concepts.
Okay, so we'll
define, not describe. Or
this is the end
Thank
of
you so much for watching.
Lux
Everitas.
Yeah, I'll speak some crap and blah, blah, blah.
Wait, hold on, Ken. Where are you going? Was that it? I thought that you were going to define magnetism. All right, I'll do it then. And I would like to...
So let's understand, he's not going to do it. He's not going to describe it or define it or in any way reveal any understanding of exactly how and why electrons repel and protons attract and all of that stuff happens, because magnetism is in fact charge and it's just a manifestation of charge. But anyway, magnets are just filters. Energy in one color, purple. Energy out, red and blue. It's that simple. That's the description. A magnet is atoms in an arrangement that causes them to filter the energy that comes in. So purple force comes in, that is a mixture of red and blue, and the magnet simply says more red out this end, more blue out that end. And that's all that happens in the end. I mean, that's the simple description.
Highlight that Ken has created 2 hours of content in which he claims to define magnetism. Note define, not describe or explain the fun.
I'm sure he used the word describe and define and all of those words somewhere in the diatribe he did, where he just redundantly kept talking about bullshit that you couldn't understand as being a real thing anywhere. There's not a real thing anywhere in any of his images or drawings or anything. There's nothing you could relate to in any way at all, and certainly can't understand why it causes attraction and repulsion.
Fundamental ideas and emergent phenomena, just define. And I will have a crack at it now. Magnetism is the field of study pertaining.
Okay, it's a field of study. No, it's a phenomenon, right? That's what it is first, right? Magnetism is a phenomenon that happens to things. They get magnetized and now they affect things in some sort of bizarre and strange way. And it's not a field of study, okay? It's a phenomenon that takes place right in front of us. We see it all the time. And what we're seeking is to understand, how is it doing that? Where does it get the energy from? Where does it get where does it have arms that pull things in? And where does it have, spit? It spits and shoots things away. I mean, how's it doing it? That's the question. And the simple answer is there's 2 forces in the universe, okay, red and blue. And there's 2 kinds of matter, electron and proton, red and blue charge. And there's 2 kinds of interactions. They can, hit each other and move in the direction they were hit, or it can hit something and the force will go perpendicular. And with that simple mechanism, you can explain how a magnet filters, okay, a bunch of purple into red and blue. Simple. So simple. And the energy comes from the universe. The universe has the energy in it. Yes. And that's how you create gravity, is by absorbing just a little bit of that energy on the outside. You absorb a little bit of it while you're moving around on the inside, and then you make gravity. See, it all adds up, and it's really, really simple. But you people are so arrogant, so obnoxious, that the truth will never be known, because you're going to keep asserting that 2 waves create the pattern. And no, they don't. Doesn't work.
To a series of effects attributed to one aspect of the electromagnetic force.
All right, so with the electromagnetic force, which isn't one force, because it's obviously 2 fields, the electric field and the magnetic field, and they're woo-wah, woo-wah, woo-wah. They're doing their little magical, whatever that is, woo-wah. They're woo-wahing through space. Oh yeah, that's really a great explanation, thanks.
Particularly the effects due to the quantum mechanical property.
Okay, there we go. The quantum mechanical property, which we call spin, that's not really spin necessarily. It might be hop, or it might be woo-wah, woo-wah. Yeah, we don't know what it is. We're just going to call it a property that's magical and creates magnetism. Oh, man, it's really that bad.
Called spin, and the interaction between objects due to this property. You see?
So the magical property called spin that nothing really has, okay? It's not a quantum mechanical anything. It's just something they made up to say virtual photon. So instead of saying virtual photon, now they say spin, because they don't have an answer. They have no clue that just how obvious it is. That, yes, well, if you just put 2 forces, 2 kinds of force in the universe to match the 2 kinds of charges in the universe, then you can do the inverse thing. Then you can make them do opposite things when the same thing is happening. You can make the red things afraid of red, and you can make the blue things afraid of blue. And then it makes sense why there's attraction and repulsion.
magnetism isn't just one thing or a single phenomenon.
Yes, it is. It is a single phenomenon. We can understand it, define it as one thing, okay? It's this idea of attraction and repulsion. An electron moves away, an electron moves towards. That's magnetism. Now, you can play all kinds of games, but that's magnetism at its core. It moves electrons and protons.
It's an entire field of study.
Well, again, so this whole entire field of study, it's a phenomenon sitting out there to be described. You're playing a game by, moving the goalpost or whatever you want to call that, by saying it's some sort of field of study. No, it's a thing to be analyzed.
Ken, at best, attempts to define magnetism as phi, and this has units of Webers, but within magnetism, this is a quantity known as magnetic flux.
So this is more crap, which Ken didn't even say. So again, Webers and flux, and let's play a game with a bunch of other nonsense. The thing Ken doesn't understand, Ken thinks a crooked line is the function of the universe. There are no straight lines. Everything is a crooked line, and if you ever see a straight line, it's because you've bent space in some bizarre way to make crooked line look like a straight line. So he's got it exactly backwards, right? Because the real argument is that everything's made out of straight lines, and if you ever see something take a curved path, it's taking the curved path because of straight line vectors of force that are affecting it. And we know that's the truth with gravity. You can draw the straight lines of the gravitational force, and you can draw straight lines of its velocity, and you can figure out that it's taking a curved path because of the intersection of those straight lines. Every rational description of charge and the interaction between two charges can be understood as the composite of straight lines, okay? The force from one object reaching the other object, and if there's three objects, then those lines, and all those lines will add up to a net product that will mean things will travel paths that aren't straight. But every single example can be demonstrated to be straight lines. Refraction, diffraction, deflections, they're all straight lines. The universe is made out of things moving in straight lines.
What about spin, induction, or moment?
So spin and moment, yes, Ken Wheeler doesn't concede those, but I don't even know if Ken Wheeler concedes the existence of an electron in the first place. But again, you don't have hard evidence for this spin thing. You can't even explain, it's not really spin, it's just, woo. And this magnetic moment, again, doesn't make much sense because we know the electron is this dirt, simple, stupid thing. It just has this thing called negative charge, and all of a sudden you're turning into a dipole magnet, and it somehow can flash its butt to, it's nothing. It has no magnetic charge because it's swirly dirling so fast that you can't see it because it's spinning so fast, and it somehow slows down just to say I'm negative or I'm positive. Well, how can it be negative and positive or north and south? Well, those are the same things, actually. It's the same force. The B field is the E field. There is no difference. The reason why there's always an E field and no B field, and vice versa, is because they're the same thing.
Are all key concepts in magnetism, and they're being completely ignored by...
Well, and they're ignored for good reason. The concept of a virtual photon is absolutely silly. The idea of your spin is silly. Your idea of a magnetic moment is silly. Atoms have a shape, okay? They have stuff around them, and sometimes they can have more electrons over here and less electrons over here, and that way they could look like they have a moment, a magnetic moment, because they're now a polarized object. And when they're polarized, then they're going to look like a little magnet. And a bunch of little magnets make a big magnet. So if you can turn all the little magnets in the same direction, then they all do the same thing, then they all filter the same way, then you have a filter that works. If all the filters are turned, if all the little filters are turned in different directions, well then the big filter won't work. I mean, this isn't that complicated. It's so simplex, to use Ken Wheeler's description of the actual facts. The physics gets really simple. It doesn't get magnetic moments and spin and quantum factors and the small universe isn't more complicated. There is, your whole wooey entanglement based on polarization experiments, and then you convert the polarization into spin somehow. Somehow you're doing a spin experiment when you're doing a polarization experiment. I mean, these are kind of like obvious things, and you're just saying, "Oh, come on, you calling that a proof?" All of a sudden, you've confused polarization with spin.
Ken, this definition would be the equivalent of defining a car as a metal plate that makes it...
Yes, and you're defining a car as a wooey, magical thing, okay, that doesn't even have an accelerator. It's got ESP. It says it reads your mind and figures out how fast you want to go, and it goes that fast. You're not even close to being in the realm of reality. At least Ken's got some idea that the car has to be moved by an actual event. It can't be moved by just magic field says so.
Go fast when you press on it. All you have done then is define the accelerator pedal.
Right, and what have you done? You've created 400 particles. You don't even have a place for them to go home and live. They have no home. They're homeless, and I don't see any of them. They're magical homeless people. They never eat the garbage, and they never sleep in a box, and they never do anything when we see them. They have no place to exist. You have 400 particles. You have all these antiparticles. Where's all the antimatter? Oh, well, it's invisible, of course. The 400 particles go live in the invisible house. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. There's no continuity in your story. It's again, old fables were so much better. 3 little pigs, 3 blind mice, gingerbread houses. That makes more sense than the crap you're selling.
But here comes the issue of what a definition actually is in science.
There we go. What a definition in science is we say so. That's what it is, okay? It's nothing more. LIGO, the Hadron Collider, all this stuff. We did it. We say so. We convert matter into bent space, of course. And, of course, we turn spin into virtual photons. We do it. Believe it. Or we'll ridicule you.
In science, a definition is just a useful statement that is communicated so everyone has a basic...
Well, that's just too silly. A useful statement. Why? What is it? Science isn't supposed to have anything to do with useful. Science is investigating to understand how does it work? Why does it work? Why does it do what it does? That's all. It doesn't care about knowing how do I eat it? How can I spread peanut butter on it? How can I make it edible? That's not science. Sorry. That's just exploitation.
From which to work. For example, momentum. It is just defined as the product of mass and velocity.
Well, that's a reasonable definition that can be based on some sort of idea or some sort of concept that movement, okay, is energy. And so if something that you can see or you can identify as existing is moving, then it has energy because it's a something. It has to interact with things that are real, right? But now you've created a bunch of virtual things. You create matter that doesn't really exist. It's transparent to everything but one thing. It makes gravity, but it doesn't do anything else. You're the one, you've just created a ton of these magical things that don't fit in any kind of category as being rational to that theory. They violate your definition of momentum because they move without causing any effect. And they themselves don't have any theyness. They're not real things. And you call them virtual right in everybody's face, and everybody doesn't just start laughing. I mean, if Ken Wheeler suggested, well, there's a virtual magneton that shoots out of the magnet. If he said something that stupid, you'd mock the hell out of it.
Force is defined as a change in momentum.
So that's really stupid, right? I mean, you don't describe the cause as the effect, okay? The change in momentum is the change in the momentum of the objects we call matter. We know the objects we don't call matter, that is photons, right? Gravity, magnetism, those forces, which should be understood to be all the same thing since they move the same speed and all, they have so much in common with each other, but you haven't figured that part out. That it's the speed of force, not the speed of light. These are simple little ABC blocks, and you don't have these ABC blocks in the right order. And then you're saying, I'm going to make real words out of having, the A where the B should be and the C where the W should be. You don't have your vocabulary set up right. in the sense that all of your elemental conclusions are just as bad as Ben Franklin's plus and minus. You got it wrong, and you don't fix any of it ever. You get a wrong answer, and you just glorify the wrong answer and just make it a fact. And so the young expect it's a two-wave interference experiment. No, it isn't. That's way past well known that it's just not a two-wave experiment. It can't be described that way. The math not only doesn't work, okay, it's plainly in front of you. The image of the double slit pattern is plainly telling you wrong answer.
None of these definitions care about what these phenomena actually are, but as long as
what these phenomena actually are. See, that's where that's the scientific approach. We don't care what they actually are. We're just trying to describe it in such a way that we end up putting peanut butter on it and having it for dinner. You really just don't have a clue how this thing is supposed to be working. You're supposed to be gathering facts, evidence. You're supposed to be good lawyers, and you're going to go into the courtroom and you're going to compile the evidence and show it to everybody and say, this is why you should believe guilt or not guilty. This is why you should believe wave or particle. This is why you should believe something. It's because I've compiled this solid pile of evidence. And that's not what you're doing. You're just propagandizing. You're saying we've proven things that you haven't proven, like light being bent by gravity and like wave theory having anything to do with what photons are doing.
everyone agrees on a definition, we can work with them and communicate our work with a shared.
Yeah, you don't communicate your work. You're completely uncommunicative. I have to offer $1,500. I have an offer of $1,500. I mean, 50 wasn't enough, 100 wasn't enough, 200 wasn't enough, 300 wasn't enough, 400 wasn't enough, 500 wasn't enough, 600 wasn't enough, 700 wasn't enough, 800 wasn't enough, 900 wasn't enough, $1,000 wasn't enough, $1,100 wasn't enough, $1,200 wasn't enough. Yeah, still, and $1,500 still isn't enough to get one of your pontificating fuckheads, okay, to sit there and take the challenge to answer why your physics is so poorly evidenced. And why you are so obnoxiously arrogant in shoving this crap down everybody's throat about your multiverses and your woo particles and your virtual this and your inability to understand that it's the speed of force. And your unwillingness to even fix Benjamin Franklin's plus and minus mistake. Why don't you redo the math the right way so you actually have voltage and current moving in the same direction? I mean, your physics is garbage. And it has all this woo in it, this magical quantum entanglement woo and quantum computer woo. We're going to figure out a way to get to the answer without actually having to get there through some sort of rational road. We're just going to go to the magic answer-ton. Hell with doing the math. Hell with walking up the stairs. We're just going to magically arrive at the top of the staircase.
Understanding. Ken fails to understand that the whole body of science is an abstraction.
Okay, the whole body of science is an abstraction. What is that? What is he saying? He's saying Ken's body of science is an abstraction? Your science shouldn't be an abstraction. Your science in every way should understand, oh, it's a straight line, not a crooked line. Oh, I'll go look for the straight lines and I'll figure out what caused this. Because everything's moving. The little elemental bits don't know about going any curved path. They have to be told what to do. All right? And when they're told, they go all or nothing. So no matter where you go in the universe, in the small universe, it's all herky-jerky. It's all just movements like this. It never does any, oh, I'm going to go this way. No, it never happens.
Satisfaction with the definition of a field is rooted in his inability to grasp that the whole concept of a field is abstract.
Yes, right. The whole concept of a field is abstract. That's the whole problem with your physics. You don't care. You're not trying to identify. You're not trying to draw reality. And the fact is if you forced yourself to say, well, I have to make this a real thing. And then you would realize that your field is really pieces of momentum. And they're flying through space in straight lines. And I could freeze it. Right? If I could stop time, I would see there's a bit of momentum with an arrow. And there's a bit of momentum with an arrow, and a bit of momentum with an arrow. And it's not some sort of consistent field. It's a field of clumps. There's a clump of stuff going this way over here, and there's a clump of stuff going that way over there. And there's clumps in the field, and the clumps are moving, and they're actually going in directions. And we could call those photons, and we could call that, some sort of radiation that was built inside of an atom when it was compressed and all that kind of stuff. And so the image isn't some sort of fake thing. It's some sort of real place. The field is there for a reason. There's an arrow, a vector in it for a reason, because there's an actual thing there. But it isn't a checkerboard. There isn't little spaces and geometric locations and everything just has a location and it just moves in that location, changes. No, there's actual bits of force, and you can have the force densely packed or you can have the force sparsely packed.
What is a field? Well, it is just a quantity that can be...
See, it's just a quantity that can be represented by a vector. And again, so they create this abstraction that's unnecessary. This is not a checkerboard. It is not some sort of, there's little squares of space, and each square of space has a proportional amount of energy in it, and the proportional amount of energy is pointing in a direction. That's not the fact. The fact is you can clump this stuff and you can space out the stuff. The squares move. They have liberty.
Represented with a tensor over all space. Ultimately...
All right, so again, he's just giving us some bullshit math crapola spew, and saying that's the image. When again, he could draw it. He could just say, look, there's a point in space, and we're saying that each point in space has a vector in it. Well, the only modification I'm making is I'm saying, no, there's a bunch of black and red, okay, squares, but they're not all smashed together in a box. They're in some open space, and you can have a lot of black squares over here, and you can have a lot of red squares over here, and they can all be doing different things, and each one of them does have a vector that's moving. And that simple modification fixes everything. The energy is in the universe. The empty space is full of the energy. Okay, that's the energy. The matter bits just go where the energy tells it to go. How many black bits hit me? How many red squares hit me from different directions? And I go wherever there's more. More of them hit me, I go that way. More of them hit me that way, I go that way. And I go at the cost of some energy. I use up some of the square's energy because they have to move slower to move me. And that creates gravity. It's so simple. And yet you'll never listen, you'll never care. You just don't care about the truth. You don't care about a fair fight. You don't care that, the opposing attorney just made a great argument. But I shoved cotton in the jury's ears, so they didn't hear any of it. You want to cheat as much as you can. You want to keep it silent. You want to keep your lies floating. You want your crooked, crappy, hole-filled boat to keep floating because it's your boat. The truth, who cares? That's your attitude.
We cannot know what that quantity truly is because we cannot know what reality is.
Oh, so these are just... Where'd you get that from? So you made that up because I'm really smart. I can't figure it out, so nobody can. I mean, this is the Feynman bullshit. I'm a really smart guy. We didn't figure it out, so you're hopeless. So it just can't be known. It's beyond knowledge because my brain didn't figure it out. That's your attitude. Not very scientific. I don't think Newton or Rutherford or, what's the more important guy? Faraday would have much to say to you people as scientists. I think they would be going, ooh, that's smelly farts, buddy. You're not doing science. You just got them clown shoes on, and you got the little nose that blinks, and you got the little hat that pops up and down. I mean, you're really not trying.
But we can quantify it and therefore describe how that quantity affects stuff.
Right, but you don't quantify with any kind of honesty is the real point here, right? You really don't. And the two-slit demonstrates it. The Eddington experiment demonstrates it. The lensing images from space even demonstrated in that there's obviously artifacts in there. There's obviously irregularities that just don't fit the theory, and you just don't care. You just pretend, look, it's perfect lensing. No, it isn't.
And how stuff affects that quantity. But that was it for this. I have to say that I'm glad that this is over. Ken paints himself as an expert in languages, philosophy, magnetism, photography.
All you guys do this painting yourself thing. You're just so covered in your paint, and your arrogance, and your pontificating, and your, Yes, there are people who are deluded in the world, and Ken Wheeler happens to be one of them. He's, got a typical psychosis, persecution complex. He's got, lots of, blah, 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 psychology issues. I have psychology issues. You people have psychology issues. And that's a truth. But the bottom line is the fact is your behavior demonstrates that you're just as unwilling to have a fair fight as Ken Wheeler is. You're just as unwilling as the flat earthers to, engage in the real evidence. I mean, you could just ask a flat earther, okay, so you really believe that millions of people have conspired to fool the human race? I mean, that's all they've just spent their entire day saying, how big a lie can I tell, and how outrageously can I defend it? You really think that's the truth? Come on.
And many other things. Aside from the photography, I'm pretty sure that I've demonstrated that he hasn't got a fucking clue when it...
Right, well, I'm pretty sure I've demonstrated repeatedly and over again that you people haven't got a clue, and that you have zero integrity. Because the very fact that I have to keep bribing you to debunk me, I have to pay you, I have to offer higher and higher and higher, and still nobody will take the money. I mean, you're despicable cowards. It's been demonstrated. You don't deal with how outrageously silly your own theory is. You're pointing out how outrageously silly the flat earthers are. Well, fine. People point out how outrageously silly some person who doesn't believe in global warming or something is. Some other kind of thing. Okay? But you're just as big a cowards. Because you won't answer any of the questions either. I mean, why hasn't the Eddington experiment been done from space? It costs nothing almost. I mean, I'm sure there was days where the scientists running the satellite say, what can we do with the satellite today? Because we did everything on the list. Yeah, they could have done the Eddington experiment.
Comes to these subjects. Although many people in my comments section will tell you that he is pretty useless on the photography stuff as well. Make no mistake. Ken is a grifter, and I would encourage...
All right. So he calls him a grifter, and isn't that what you people are? Look at the graft that they've pulled out of our economy to build LIGO and the Hadron Collider that produce not even a peanut butter sandwich. I mean, there's nothing edible in the knowledge they produce. There's just absolutely nothing. The Higgs boson will do absolutely nothing for physics in terms of ever making a machine work better or doing... It'll never do anything useful. Ever. First, because it's bullshit, and second, it's not even close to being connected bullshit. I mean, it's not even ESP bullshit. It's in no way a useful piece of bullshit. Alright, so you're grifters. Your video is covered in ads. Okay, I mean, Ken's are bad, but yours are worse. I mean, they're all over the video. I mean, you can't, every 3 minutes, you gotta pop an ad in there, right in the middle of your sentences. Yuck. I mean, Ken's almost that bad now. You're a grifter. You make a living propagandizing for the religion. And maybe you're trying to do something in your lab that has some utility, but your theory is crap. And you might just by accident get the right result because there's some, there is a concept there, like can I make chalk twice as dense or some other kind of argument, kind of make chalk twice as dense. That's a thing worth doing. Now, I don't need a theory of chalk to necessarily do it, because I could just try a bunch of experiments where I smash the chalk into each other and try to make it denser.
Everyone who thinks that Ken is onto something to really critically evaluate what he is.
They can't critically evaluate it because there's nothing, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't explain why there's attraction and why there's repulsion. He just says hyperboloid, tornado, horoid. It's all this fucking, hemorrhoids against hemorrhoids or something, and somehow that makes repulsion. And that somehow if you invert the hemorrhoids, then they attract. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Saying and look up how other well-known grifters operate. You'll find some fun similarity.
Yes, and you have the same thing. You're just like the rest of the preachers. You just sit there and gloss over all the parts that don't make any goddamn sense, like where the Bible says, well, heaven is not of this world, and you're really not taking your bitches with you. You're not going to remember who your kids are. You're not going to remember your wife. You're not going to remember nothing. You're not even going to see your dog. None of it. Nope. You just go to heaven and sit in a chair and wait to go kiss Jesus' feet, and that's all you're going to know. Isn't it great? Can't you wait? You're just like dying to get there, aren't you? Right? They just gloss over the parts that say, oh, fuck, you don't even want to go near heaven because it sucks. They just gloss over those bits. And that's all you're doing. You're glossing over the reality. The reality is pointing very clearly to a mechanical universe that's made out of very simple devices. There is no ESP. There is no singularities. There is no superpositions. All of that crap is mathematical crap that you're allowed to say. In math, you're allowed to say double infinity. Yeah, infinity times 2. Math allows you to say that. Reality makes that mockable. Okay, math allows you to say, let's go negative. Let's have negative up. It allows you to say something that's stupid. Negative up, but it's not down. Right? So math lets you say things that can't happen in the real world. They're not real things. Oh, let's just put that in the 4th dimension. Yeah, math lets you sit there and put a 4D, and just invent a 4th. I have X, Y, and Z. Well, I'll just make up W. And yes, of course, it won't be obeying the same rules, but who cares? I can write a W, and therefore there is a W dimension. So your math is crooked, broken, because you really don't care about rational concepts.
But with that, thank you all for watching and going on this journey with me. I will keep half an eye out on this channel to see if there's any fun nonsense stuff.
Yes, now it's all redundant, actually. Just keep saying the same thing over and 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 over.
Pops up. I would also like to thank my patrons who have been a huge help in running this channel.
Right, so you're not grifting now. You're not just sitting here soliciting, saying, hey, I'm in it for the money. And, the more money, the more science. Let's all sell the religion. Come on, do it for Jesus. Contribute for Jesus. Wave theory, ESP particles. Yeah, we want all that crap. We want all that unicorn bullshit.
And help me do my thing in
Yes.
this series. In contrast to Ken, I won't tell you that I live tight and that I'm poor, and your donations are greatly appreciated and it will help me.
So you won't give us any idea of the truth here, right? Oh, okay. Obviously, you seem pretty desperate. The fact that you put an ad on might be one thing, but to cram a whole bunch of ads in the video means you seem kind of desperate for the money. So what do you got? A couple of hookers on the side you got to finance? Well, what's the story? Why don't you give us the story?
Eat, otherwise I will starve. Because unlike Ken, I'm not going to lie about that sort of thing. But if you do want to support this channel, it will still be appreciated very much. And
La 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 la. I can buy some more fancy guitars that I only play 3 times a year.
I'm pretty sure that you will be able to find all the links. But thank you very much. And
La la la. I'm pretty sure you could find them all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could have done that even without you saying it, right? But here you are saying it. Why don't you tell them to click the subscribe button and hit the little bell and do all the other little stuff that you need to do because you're too stupid to figure it out on your own. Thumb up the video. Yay! right? Because these are people that can understand physics, right? Yeah, people who have to be told what to do. Oh, you're not a grifter, and you're sitting there talking to the people too stupid to know what a subscribe button is, and you're going to explain physics to them. Well, I'm going to explain virtual photons and magnetic moments.
Till next time.
Induction, induction, induction.
So I guess Kate had something to do with this, and Walter. I don't know. Maybe I guess they're the Patreons. Oh, fuck. It's just the world is such a tragically grotesque place. I mean, people just suck so bad. Of course I mean you. Yeah, I'd like to say I don't mean you. But frankly, most of the people watching my videos, you're a fucking imbecile. I mean, you have spent your whole life dancing their dance in their bullshit and doing their shit, and you haven't spent any time with your neurons going, hey, should my brain be wasting its time on this crap? You know, so I mean, you're so slow to get it. You know, I mean, it's just going to take you a while to figure out, oh, my whole life I've been speaking the wrong language, reading the books upside down. And so, yeah, it's going to take you a while to get up to speed. So, I mean, I can't say anything nice about you because, you know, you didn't get a clue until way too late in life. I am literally, you know, light years ahead of all of you. Sort of. You know, it's at least a big pile of time ahead of you. So there's even more to this video, but I do not want to play it, so I won't. It'll hurt me, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so anyway, just all very disappointing. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, I couldn't humiliate Baldy Cats into playing fair and letting me, you know, debunk his physics by him pointing me to a video that contains his argument, where he's allowed to call me stupid and ignorant and misinformed, and you know, say I'm talking garbage, you know, that shit. You know, defend that with something, but he can't, and he wouldn't. And AB Science is the same way. I mean, I've made the argument to him that, yeah, the whole double slit thing is a big fat fake fraud phony. I mean, it can't be rationally and honestly and factually described by a physicist. It can't be, because your theory doesn't work. It's plainly wrong. Okay, and you just can't admit it, even though the facts are right there in front of you. The Young two-wave theory doesn't work. Even if there wasn't two patterns, it doesn't even work for one pattern. And your math demonstrates it doesn't work because you don't have the point sources in the center of the waves you draw. You draw a wave here. I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, I wish you know, I mean, you have to have a certain amount of knowledge to see these glaring mistakes. I mean, they're glaring. It's so obvious. And I'm almost embarrassed that took me 10 years to figure out how fake this is. I mean, their math is, again, it has this as the point sources, this as the vectors from which you're comparing. You're comparing two lines. And when they draw it, where do they put the wave? They put the wave here. And they put the wave here. This is the point source. This is the vectors they're comparing when they're doing the drawing. This distance is not this distance. This distance is in the math. It's only going to give you part of the pattern. It's wrong. But they don't put this distance in the math. It's so dishonest. And they can't even admit that, oh yeah, that's as bad as having plus and minus, you know, the wrong way, you know. Describing an excess of electrons as a minus. And, you know, describing being fat as being, you know, weighing less. That's bad. But this is even worse. And they won't even fess up. It's just it's such a religion. I mean, they just don't want to admit that the stories don't make any sense. that the Christians shouldn't even put the Old Testament in their Bible because it's so obnoxious and disgusting and rude. Even Jesus says Moses was full of shit. I mean, Jesus says that overtly, okay? Moses just gave you divorce because you people nagged him for it, not because God said so. I mean, that kind of crap is in the Bible, just making the whole Bible nonsense, right? I mean, it's just nonsense, right? You know, the prophet is saying the other prophet was full of shit. I mean, come on. It's just too stupid. Oh, when God told Moses the Ten Commandments, he told him a whole bunch of other stuff, but Moses didn't pay attention. It's just too stupid. Oh, it's a madhouse. It is, Planet of the Apes. I have no hope of integrating into this society. It just isn't going to work. It's going to spend my whole miserable, crappy life just going, oh, fuck. I have to come back to this shithole. Some fucking whore is going to pop out some poor baby, and he's going to have to realize, oh, my mother's a fucking whore. I live in an insane fucking Planet of the Apes. This sucks. They're eating termites, for fuck's sake. I endeavor to persevere, Gary. Oh, that's right, though. But I'll endeavor to persevere. Yep, that's what I'll do. Because there isn't a goddamn other choice that makes any sense. So I'll just have to endeavor to persevere.